KBLA and USC have second-round games tonight. USC is at South Carolina, 5 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. UCLA is at home against Oklahoma State, 7 p.m. tip on ESPN. UCLA is going for their 27th straight win. The Lakers and Clippers are on the court tonight. The Lakers are at Detroit. The Lakers are trying to extend their winning streak to 10. The Clippers are at home against Milwaukee. A win puts the Clippers back at 500. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Girls, who run the world? Girls, who run this mother?
Women's History Month doesn't end. It crescendos. This Friday on KBLA Talk 1580. It's a total takeover. All day, all night. Women's voices only. Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals join our all-star lineup of women talkers as special guest host for the day.
Oh my God!
And our lineup of guests includes entrepreneurs, poets, elected officials, authors, activists, creatives, and music artists, including the Grammy Award-winning Faith Evans.
I never knew there was a love like this before.
And Guapale. There's only one Faith Evans, and 25 years after she asked us to get closer, Guapale also comes live in studio to celebrate the debut album that became a classic. This Friday, only on KBLA Talk 1580. Tune in, turn it up. This one's ours.
We run this mother.
That's right, baby. I want all y'all to walk on over to the bridge with me. Because I'm going to take you to the water and make you drink. Party, baby. Because the funk show will make it stink.
Say what?
Yeah. If you let the funk hit your eye, you're going to turn into a spot. Won't you try?
Let the funk in your heart, baby. Funk not only kills, it amp kills.
No. Before we do that, I'm going to take you to the bridge and drop you off into some funk.
KBLA Talk 1580. Coming to the stage. This is Big John. John Harriel, the inspiration behind Messy Mondays. Not that he's messy per se, but he kind of set it off with his opinionated relationship takes. And that's his walk-on music. Coming to the stage, John Harriel for Messy Mondays.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's the song right there. That's it.
Okay, what's
That's
messy
it right
about
there.
it? What's messy about it, John?
Oh, it's not never messy. It's always can be cleaned up. When it get messy, the kids to clean it up. That's all.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but I'm scared to ask. So, John,
How you doing this morning, Dominique?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Excellent. Not dead in jail, my young sister.
It's funny because Sahara Ali just finished telling us to be wise, not emotional. But Messy Monday is kind of all about being a little emotional. And you set it off. So let me start before we go there. How are you?
I'm good. Life is good. Life is good. Out there saving lives and getting individuals into these trades, they'll better themselves in our community.
Yeah. No, and actually, on that note, I mean, it's not what we're talking about, but I think the work that you do in that area is something we should all be grateful for, especially if you coming out of LA, just actual people's lives being really changed in a long-term, impactful way when you go from,
Oh, absolutely.
being lost to having a purpose, a focus, and the ability to feed your family.
In a real way, not just barely feeding them, but actually feeding them to where they reap the benefits of having careers versus having a job.
Do you think I'm listening to you say that, and I'm just thinking to myself, I bet, and you could say this based on your lived experience, that people are a lot less messy when they have the ability to hold it down for their families. Or maybe they're
That's a
more
double-edged
messy.
sword.
Or maybe they're more messy because they
Yeah.
got money so they can get
Yeah.
more area codes kind
Exactly.
of situation.
Yeah. Some people, when they get bread, they tend to act out a little bit more because now they have choices.
Oh.
Whereas before they didn't have choices. Now they got choices, and they tend to act up a little bit. And as we say, talk real heavy. They talk real heavy. All of a sudden, don't nobody need nobody all of a sudden.
I gotcha.
Okay.
So then, rich, or not even rich, but well-resourced men, and presumably women, but you're speaking for the men right now, are bigger sluts, are more messy, are more less faithful. Try not to get myself in trouble, John.
Right. I'm trying to. Yeah, I don't want to get no brothers in trouble either, or sisters.
Yeah,
I just say that
you don't want to
some
give us the
individuals- I'm
real.
just gonna say
You don't want to
some.
give us the real.
Yeah. I'm gonna say some people, not all, but some tend to get a little messy. And again, it's all based on choices. And some people like to go to that gambling table and gamble. And sometimes it get a little messy. And when it get messy, how do I clean it up?
Yeah, well, okay. The reason I sound like that is because I said, this is not the Big John I know and love. Are you running for office at the moment?
Well, one of the things that I learned, Dominique, just listening to you and listening to others, once it's on tape or film, it can never be. And people today, for some reason, today it just appears that people like to pick and choose things they like to go in on.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing that how what I found out is that there are a lot of people who do not pay attention to the facts. They get, like you said earlier, emotional. And I know just from experience, if I make decisions off emotions, they're going to be the worst decisions I ever made.
Yeah, I mean,
And yeah, it's just tough.
well, I was just, that reminded me of Jim Brown, the decision-making process, right? Eliminate the negative, establish the facts,
absolutely.
and choose your best option.
Absolutely.
But Messy Monday started because you were on here and you have some very strong opinions about do's and don'ts in relationships, dating, and marriage, particularly when it comes to gender roles. And today's young people, particularly, not our generation, but the 2 or 3 under that, the Gen Zs, the millennials, especially the Gen Zs, and maybe Gen A, they're kind of feeling gender roles on a spectrum. They are breaking away from traditional relationships and traditional even expressions of gender. And so maybe the way I think about things or the way you think about things in that sense is out of date.
I'm not going to say it's out of date. I just think it's the same soup, just reheated. And I think individuals haven't done their research to understand the process. Everyone do have a role. I think what you're saying, if I hear you correctly, is some people have that everybody wins a trophy mentality. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And a lot of young men and women, they just got the game on backwards. And what happens is you'll see a young guy, like, to me, I don't think it's correct to be taking a young lady out and she walk up to your car, you're not opening up the door for her. Whereas a young dude might think, hey, she got hands too, open the door your damn self. That just doesn't make sense to me right there. Because to me, if I'm already starting off like that, then that young lady is giving me the green light to just treat her whatever. She's not setting a standard. She okay with that. She okay with her opening up her own door. We go to the restaurant, it's 50-50. I mean, that stuff sound cool, but as a man, I enjoy picking up the tab if I'm sitting with my queen and opening up the door and making sure we have a nice conversation and talking about things that add and multiply versus we sitting at the table and everybody looking at their phone.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. You're talking about more traditional gender roles, which is between a man and a woman. And what I was referencing is that if people now are saying that gender is on a spectrum, right? You could be a man, you could be a woman, you could be non-binary, you could be a more femme-presenting woman or a more, femme-presenting man or vice versa, that do those traditional roles apply?
I'm going to say yeah, because think about it. Even if a person is doing what you said, somebody's playing the role of somebody. Let's just say if it's two young ladies, from what I've seen, I don't know it all, but from what I've seen, when you see two young ladies that are involved, someone is playing someone is the, what they say, feminine, and
someone is living masculine. That, right. Someone is living one aspect more than
the
another.
masculine, right. And the masculine person is taking on, if they're a woman, the masculine person is taking on the identity of what? A man. And they're going to do
or what we would
perceive
consider traditional male gender roles.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. With the dress, the look, the behavior, everything. Same thing if it was two men.
So they shouldn't be going 50-50 either.
I mean, who's ever playing the man should be taking care of that tab.
Whoever's manifesting or living the gender role that we would traditionally consider masculine should be paying the check. Okay.
Yes.
You know what? I'm kind of back and forth on that, not because I'm running for office, Big John, but because I feel like if some couples, whatever their genders are okay with 50-50, then, who am I to judge? I don't, but...
it's no judge. I can only speak for myself. It's no judge, but for me, as a man, there's just nothing more gratifying to know that I have the capability and the resources to sit down and shower my woman. I mean, there's nothing more great than that. Waking up as a man, there's nothing on this earth that God created better than a woman. In my eyes, and a black woman at that.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot to talk about because there's so much, and part of it is social media exposing us and the fast way that trends and ideas and viral clips influence all of our perceptions of how we should be and who should be doing what in a relationship, rather than basing it on what works for us or what our parents did or what our community did. But you have your take on gender roles in relationships, whoever's manifesting whatever gender are pretty strong. I'll give an example and we'll talk about it when we continue. Last time you were on talking about kicking off Messy Monday, you said that a man should always be in the driver's seat, not metaphorically, but literally, that a man should never be in a car with a woman when she is driving and he is the passenger. Want to look at why you say that and why some people thought that was crazy. Let's unbox it when we continue on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day. All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable. All month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we're your girls. Won't you know that we love you?
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Where you eating at?
Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed, it's Messy Monday, and we're talking with the originator, the original inspo of the conversation, John Harrell, Big John. So you got a lot of rules. Why aren't women driving when you're in the car, ever?
Unless I'm injured. Other than that, I mean, that's my queen. If we going somewhere, I got it. I got the directions. She get to sit over there and look beautiful while I navigate through. I think to me, it just looks weird when a young lady is having to drive and y'all going somewhere and a dude is sitting on the passenger side and he on his phone. He not even paying attention to dangers or traffic or anything like that. For me, I just think that's my duty if I'm going out with a young lady, to make sure I can handle that. I'm driving. We're going to a nice place, doing some things to show leadership capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, some people would say, what if she's a better driver? Or it kind of sounds, I mean.
All that right there, those are conversations. I'm not even going to tennis. If somebody going that far with it, then I'm not even having that conversation. These are the facts. This is what I'm doing. Either you in or you out. I ain't nobody negotiating that.
Some would say it sounds sexist.
Define sexist. Really, it sounds sexist for you to tell me I can't drive. Or for you to even assume you got a better driving record than me. That don't even sound right.
Well, I think sexist would
sound right.
The definition would be, that you think women are less capable than men.
That's what they saying in their brain. My conversation is, you've been driving all day. We about to go out. I got it. We're going somewhere. You sit back and relax. You didn't have a heart. We going out. Period. Now, if somebody want to take that and switch it up, hey, Go do your chat GPT. It's all good. I'm sticking with the old school.
Go do your chat GPT. Speaking of chat GPT, I mean, people are having whole relationships with AI. People are marrying AI.
Listen, that's a whole different. I don't even go down those realms. For me, looking, feeling, touching is the greatest thing on this earth, and that's why God had a man and a woman, and it's all good.
Morris says, Dominique, my baby girl doesn't drive either, but she does make that money. So what about that? You know, you already said 50-50 is out for you. Does that mean she doesn't work?
The women I know and the ladies that I deal with, they will work, but that's their money. I mean, I believe a woman should be doing something to add and multiply, just like a man should be adding and multiplying. And that's just what it is. One of the greatest things that a woman has, in my view, is the women's femininity when she's dealing with a man. Because oftentimes it's called Beauty and the Beast. It's not called Beauty and Beauty. And oftentimes women who are very feminine in their womanhood and understand when they're dealing with a man. I'm not talking about a dude who play PlayStation all day hanging on the block. I'm not talking about an F-boy. I'm talking about a real man. Women understand that, and their energy is different when they line up with a man versus a F-boy.
You know what? I hear a lot of men say that what they're looking for is a woman who's very feminine. What does that mean? I mean, define that.
Well, in my definition, I'm going to speak for myself, and again, the chat BTs do whatever they do. For me, the feminine energy is how we have a conversation, how I'm greeted when they're in a room without me being there, the way they conduct themselves, how they speak. They can be in a room with this group of people and be in a room in this group of people, but in every room they're in, when they walk out there, say, "Man, you know, the young lady you brought, that's a nice young lady right there you brought." They move in a way that's graceful without even trying to do it. And they're not the type to sit up there and try to outman you.
What would that look like, outmanning you? What would
oftentimes, I've seen dudes tennis conversations with young ladies, and they talking just as they first off they arguing, which I don't do. The second thing they're doing, she telling him to shut up and this is what I do, and I bought you this, and I just talking like that, and the dude just sitting there saying, "Yes, sir, boss." I don't understand that right there. That's very masculine in a negative way.
Arguing. Challenging.
Arguing in that kind of nature right there, challenging, disrespectful, just that. I don't understand that because I would never engage in nothing like that. That right there, just if somebody gonna get off on me like that, I'm just gonna stop the conversation, just remove myself from the situation.
To me, it sounds like what you're talking about is disrespectful.
It is.
Not. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put a gender on it. It just sounds like you're disrespecting the other person.
I'm just talking about disrespect, no matter if it's coming from the guy or the woman. Disrespectful is disrespectful because I also don't believe that a man should ever be arguing with a woman about what? What are we arguing about? It's okay to have a conversation, but to have a conversation, that means I got to listen with the intent to understand. And when a person is speaking, let them finish the conversation instead of being quick to respond. And all I want you to do is hear my side of the story. And then as we keep talking, the volume gets louder and louder and louder. And when that happens, whatever the situation was and got thrown out the window, now it's something else. And this is how people get handcuffs on them, because when them people come, somebody get to talking crazy. Next thing you know, now you're going downtown.
Yeah.
And no, sir.
Kwamel says feminine and masculine don't mean gender roles, which are all social, but our society and our people are insecure. Insecurity is always, I think, can always be an issue in relationships.
Insecurity, to me, a different word for that I would call is low self-esteem. That can be a situation. At the end of the day, if I know who I am and I know what I will and will not stand for, then it becomes choices. I mean, it's a choice. If someone is being this way towards me, will I allow that, or will I make excuses for it and say, well, it only happened one time, and they really not like that, they really a good person? Or, nah, we're not doing that right there, and let me make a choice. But oftentimes people, they do things that don't make sense. And to me, in my world, I understand that a person who has been through some pain, if it's processed correctly, it equals growth. But I also know people that avoid pain look for company. I'm not doing that. If something is not what I feel to be A and B, I got a choice to make. And if I make that choice, I got to live with it. I'm not going to sit there and let nobody just keep doing something that I know I'm not cool with, and I just try to take the high road because she pretty or the sex is like nuclear, and I just dismiss all this nonsense over here and go through that. I'm not doing that, and no one should do it. I don't care what gender you are.
Jerry says some women confuse word count and volume with strength. Some men have been raised to argue. It's interesting, though, this, and I guess it's a biblical reference. Men talk about a quarrelsome woman as if it's okay for them to argue, but not for you as a woman.
Again, as a man, if they was taught that need to be unlearned. What's the definition of argument? It's a verbal fight. Who am I having a verbal fight with? We're going to have a debate. That's a conversation with consideration. Now, a lot of dudes was brought up in single-parent homes like myself. And I'm not going to lie, to this day, I still have PTSD with someone yelling at me. So my mother used to yell at me so much. I do not do that. And I understand that I can't be having conversations like that because I had to learn that. Now, if somebody say that's how they was raised and they don't know the difference in that and sitting up there arguing with your significant other or any woman, to me, that's insane. Why? If the source of the confusion is one thing and we can't get to it, then that means, partner, you're not leading your ship correctly. She's going to be calling somebody else daddy.
We only have 25 seconds, so we probably should address it after news, traffic, and sports. Where you say they're not leading the ship correctly, I'm interested to know what that is. But I also think it's really generous that you shared that for you the yelling doesn't work because you're aware of the trauma that you carry from your childhood experience, or what we call the childhood conditioning, and you know that you have to set a boundary around that. We'll keep this conversation going when we come forward. You're invited in if you got something to say. 800-920-1580. It's a messy Monday on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black retired Detroit Police Sergeant Benjamin Wagner is charged with kidnapping and sexually assaulting 5 women and girls between 1999 and 2003. Black Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy calls him a suspected serial rapist.
The alleged facts in this case are disturbing, unsettling, and infuriating.
Wagner was arrested at work in North Carolina and waived extradition. Black Republican Senator Tim Scott is reversing his retirement pledge and will run for re-election in 2028. He told the Post and Courier he now sees his role as crucial as Republicans fight to keep the Senate majority. And Black conservative sports writer and TV personality Jason Whitlock is blasting Michael B. Jordan's Best Actor Oscar for Sinners, calling it a DEI award. He says Jordan's performance was mid and the film hot garbage, though fans argue his dual role earned him that win. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Baja Fresh on Thursday, April 2nd for National Burrito Day. Grab a Baja Burrito with chicken for just $5. Fresh ingredients, bold flavor, one amazing deal. Available in-store only on April 2nd, so don't miss it. Eat well, live fresh at Baja Fresh. Valid at participating locations.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The season is over for the UCLA men's basketball team. They lost to UConn Sunday night in the second round of the NCAA tournament. UConn beat the Bruins 73-57. The Bruins finished the season at 24-12. There will be a new national champion in the men's tournament. Florida, the defending national champion, was upset Sunday by Iowa 73-72. Iowa is one of 6 Big Ten teams advancing to the Sweet 16. In the NCAA women's tournament, UCLA and USC have second-round games tonight. USC is at South Carolina, 5 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. UCLA is at home against Oklahoma State, 7 p.m. tip on ESPN. UCLA is going for their 27th straight win. The Lakers and Clippers are on the court tonight. The Lakers are at Detroit. The Lakers are trying to extend their winning streak to 10. The Clippers are at home against Milwaukee. A win puts the Clippers back at 500. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are the architect of your own legacy, but you don't have to build it alone. I'm Lisanne Basquiat, a board-certified NLP expert and legacy healing strategist. I've built the Shaping Freedom platform to give you the exact tools you need to evolve. From my signature podcast and Lounging with Lisanne meditations to our intentional candles and journals. Stop living on autopilot. Visit shapingfreedom.com to access the teachings and tools you deserve for you and your family. Your evolution begins at shapingfreedom.com.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So, who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So, what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year. A 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utility's failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits. And your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, this is for Bobby Ye, Imperial Vision, who is saying he's not familiar with our Messy Monday. Messy Monday is something that came about after just a conversation that I had a couple of years ago with Big John, a.k.a. John Harriel, who is diversity manager for Morrow Meadows, but he doesn't have that hat on today. We're one of our friends, a friend of the show, a new friend or a longtime friend, like Big John, who I've known for quite some time, shares what they have to say about dating, relationships, and single life. We stir the pot. We do this in the spirit of exploring what are the norms, what people think, what is changing, and it's something we do the third Monday of every month. The fourth Monday, we go to Black Marriage Monday, where we look more at how long-term marriage and relationship are held together, marriages and relationships, and how we can do better at getting the tools and the terminology and the concepts that help us with long-term marriages. Messy Monday is meant to kind of give us a scope of what's going on the ground, how various people from different walks of life see things, and it makes for a fun conversation, but I also think it allows us to process the way we see things, what you and I consider the norm, and even if we don't consider it the norm, what are we practicing in our relationships, right? And so that's where we started, and Big John is sharing his thoughts. This original concept, this conversation, is what set it off. Big John, I said, we just had a little bit of time before news, traffic, and sports, but I wanted to let you go ahead and articulate what you were outlining for us.
Yeah, what I was saying in the last segment is that if a young man is constantly arguing with his woman, there's something else going on. And that kind of language and behavior is dictated by the man in the relationship. If he's acting like that, his woman's going to respond. And if arguing is how y'all communicate, to me, there's a bigger issue that no one hasn't addressed. Like for me, I can address that I have an issue with someone raising their voice at me. This is why I don't do it, but I'm not going to allow no one to do it to me, because that right there is something that I went through as a child, and my mother would yell at me so loud, I just didn't understand that. And I don't understand it today. And when I see people doing it, it doesn't make no sense to me. That kind of stuff right there a couple of things can happen. People can not pay attention and let their emotions override their logic, and this is how people get in prison. Somebody can get hurt. It's just too many bad things that can happen if I don't understand my situation and what I'm in and what I'm doing. And if I'm in a relationship where I'm constantly arguing, we need to talk about what the definition of relationship is, and I need to make an adjustment, because I'm not going to sit there and be toxic like that and just keep being toxic. That's not healthy.
Yeah, you make the distinction between an argument and a debate, because I think that's important, because I've heard many shrinks say that if you never disagree, your relationship is probably not on a solid foundation. But that doesn't mean you're throwing pots and pans at each other and screaming. So you're talking about, it sounds, what I'm hearing, like you can disagree, but there are ground rules.
Absolutely. That's called a conversation with consideration. Like for me, I disagree that the majority of men that love women can't be friends with them. That's my view. Now, we can have a healthy debate about that. I'm not going to argue about that.
Mm-hmm. Why
but
can't...
some people, they'll just argue that. And, you hear women say, well, I got this friend, I got that. I say, okay, that same friend you talking about that you put in that category, go ask that dude that you had this special dream about him and you like to be with him, and I guarantee you're going to show up at your house in 10 minutes. No questions asked. And be like, I always been thinking about you in that way.
Oh, my. I have had this debate with men more than once. Why don't you're saying that, and I've heard this from other men before, that if a man is your friend or a woman is your friend and they're heterosexual, that lurking in the back of their mind is the desire to have a romantic or sexual relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's like putting a recovering alcoholic in a bar. Sooner or later, he's gonna want to sip. That's all it is to it.
But but you have female friends.
No, I don't. I have individuals that I associate with, and they great colleagues and all that. But no, I don't do that
Colleagues,
because it
not
can
friends.
always get it can always get messy. No matter on what end it is, it can be from the young lady's point of view with the brother. The brother might be a suave individual that just carries himself in a certain way, and then she might figure, well, let me just be a friend, but doing little things like always there when the brother call, whenever he needs something, she fill it in the gap. Even when he down and out, she might look out for him that way, and then she say the favorite words, you know, you can tell me anything, and it's just me and you, and I would never betray you. Things like that. Those things can lead to something, because what happens is individuals of the opposite sex, if they become friends, once they start talking about each other's relationships, that's a no-no. That is absolute no. And that leads down to danger, especially if you are appealing. Men are visual. There is no way a dude going to sit up out there that's heterosexual with a young lady who is absolutely stunning in every sense of the way, going to sit there, oh, yeah, that's my partner. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
So does
that
mean
you
that
want to tell her, stick to
it? So does that mean when you're in a romantic relationship or a sexual relationship with a woman, she's not allowed to have male friends?
I would call them colleagues, but again, I can't tell nobody what to do.
So the difference between a colleague and a friend, i.e., we work together, we are dealing with each other on this basis, but we're not going hanging out at a bar, having drinks, or going to the movies or that kind of thing.
And you always got to remember, the woman dictates what box you get put in. If the woman puts you in the friend category, you're in trouble, champ. This is why it doesn't benefit an individual to not speak their mind. Oftentimes, young men are afraid to speak to gorgeous women or women who have high value and standards, because in their mind, they're thinking they don't never have a chance, when in reality, nothing beats a failure but a try.
Yep.
And if a person just try it, champ, well, what can she say? The worst she can say is no. And some people, unfortunately, they're raised, like you said, looking at media or whatever, and if a woman says no, then you want to get disrespectful. None of that is cool right there. Hello, my name is such and such. I like the way you look, so I thought I'd speak. How are you? And if she say I'm not interested, stop the conversation and move forward. There ain't no need to get into why, who, and all that nonsense. But again, those are behaviors that some people think that that's cool, and it's not.
Have men lost the art of asking women out? I mean, I do hear that complaint from women. Yeah,
absolutely. They lost the art because of two things. A lot of our young brothers, and I'm not saying, I'm only looking at what I'm looking at. I don't know every young brother. The brothers who I run across, who I've seen with the mentoring, one of the greatest things we suffer from is two things. We don't read enough, and we don't listen to old school music. Go back to the old school. When the men was talking to women, they actually had to say full sentences, and they had to say things. When Smokey said, turn the lights down low and baby come close, put your hand in mine, please be mine, he's talking about being in the bedroom, but he ain't saying that. When Marvin Gaye say, you sure like the ball, we knew what he was talking about. And when Shaka Khan said, don't walk away, don't be so shady, I'm only what you make me. Those are things, but a lot of times we don't listen to that and we don't read. A lot of women are very well read, and they stimulated by conversation. If I don't read and my only source of information is hip-hop, and not saying hip-hop is bad, I'm just talking about the negative parts where we're talking about just things that just don't add and multiply when it comes to our culture, and then not reading books that add and multiply and edify my mind to where if I am having a conversation with a young lady about finance, politics, or relationships, I can have the conversation right here at this level and not be in no conversation where I'm just talking crazy with no scientific nothing. I'm just the whole conversation on emotions. And then if she asks me what my FICO score is, I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
We're talking with Big John Harriel. It's a messy Monday. You're invited into the convo, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
They say time flies when you're having fun. The founding members cohort is now officially over. Hard to believe. It's been a joy sharing what I've discovered after nearly 40 years of conversations with presidents, cultural icons, and game changers in every field of human endeavor. If you missed the first cohort, the good news is that we're already planning the next one. Now, the seats will be limited, and those on our waiting list will receive exclusive early access and special discounts not available to the general public. So, if you are ready to transform the way you connect, lead, and build trust, do not hesitate. Go to TavishTalks.com and join the waiting list today. That's TavishTalks.com. The next cohort is coming. Make sure you are in the room. I'm Tavish Smiley, and I hope to see you there.
Heading out of town this spring? Metro makes getting to LAX easier than ever. Just take the C or K train lines to the new LAX Metro Transit Center. Then catch a free shuttle straight to your terminal. Easy, affordable, stress-free. Travel smart. Go Metro.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
And time flies when you're on the radio. It's a messy Monday. Big John is here. Morris says, get you a church woman. You'll never look back most of the time. But Jerry says, Morris, be very, very careful with them church ladies.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, most people, this is not me. I hear most people say that the church is the club.
Okay, I haven't heard that one. But you did say men need to read more. And I think you and I definitely are on the same page with that. I think we all need to read more, men and women. But,
absolutely.
But, for me, I'm a sapiosexual, right? Smart men are sexy to me. If you're well-read, if you know how to put together a sentence, that's a really good start for me.
Well, you got to remember back a lot of times, like back when I was in my hustling days, when I was out there getting money and I had low self-esteem out there gang banging, when I would meet a young lady who was pleasing to the eye, what do most dudes do that's childish at the mind? You want to go show her off to everybody. And when you go somewhere with your homies and you get out, nice-looking young lady, everybody go, man, she really looks nice. But then when she walk away and go off somewhere, in my head, I'm like, oh, she ain't nothing. Because in my head, I wasn't nothing. And if I wasn't nothing, she most definitely ain't going to be nothing even dealing with me, knowing that I'm a big bag of S-word. Because a lot of times people do this for imagery. When I had super so low self-esteem, and all I would do was hone in on the young ladies who had low self-esteem, and I can assure you 99.9% of the time, the ones who had the lowest self-esteem was the ones that you would think could get any man they wanted.
Well, you know, that's like the old Groucho Marx thing. You don't want to be part of any club that would have you as a member.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
so there's no way a woman can win in that scenario, right? I mean, if you
like
date
you say
me,
now,
then you must be a loser, basically is what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is, though, but nobody won't admit that. I can admit that now because I understood what was going on back then.
Right.
But what I'm saying is now, I tell young men, in order to get a high-value woman, you must get to the high value. And that goes with that big word you use that I've never heard before. They have to be that in that realm to whereas if they're speaking to you and having a conversation, at least in your head, you can say, okay, they're not a total idiot. They at least are doing some reading.
Because you've done your reading, yeah. Yeah, it's sapiosexual just means that you're turned on by knowledge, right? And that could be a man or a woman can be a sapiosexual. I think a lot of us are and don't know it. But you also said we don't listen to enough old music. And it's some of those old school jams could give you a whole approach. I mean, you could sort of put Al Green or Marvin Gaye in your own words and you're in.
There's so many songs out there that a young man can listen to and put their twist on it, and they level of quality of woman will rise if they just understood how to speak to a woman, not talk at her, speak to her, just by simple on how to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Those are just little things, but I'm telling you, a woman can know when a person is not well read when they start speaking and every word that come out their mouth is and after every sentence, you know what I'm saying. They'll know that their reading level capabilities are just stuck whatever geographical area they grew up in.
Yeah. I think that that we really underrate how much the way we talk to someone is a factor. Even more than what they might drive or what they have in their wallet. You know, just a simple straight, hi, I'm John, I'm Joe, I'm George, and, I really, what's your name? I just wanted to meet you.
Yeah.
Boom, that's nice. It's refreshing.
Not only that, it works. I mean, just the other day, I was inside a place of business, and when I walked in there, as soon as I got to the counter, I said, young lady, I know you having a tough day, and I'm going to tell you right now, I really appreciate you being here at this time of day. I just want to say thank you. That right there just lowered everything. And I was able to get some things done that I know for a fact she wouldn't have done for nobody else. Just by me going in there recognizing that she probably had a hard day. I couldn't verify that. I just assumed it. But just by me saying thank you for being here, that simple thank you, and speaking in an even-keeled tone, and having a smile on my face just took down the normal rah-rah that probably would be going up in that place. This place was crazy.
And acknowledging her humanity. I mean, that means a lot too.
Absolutely.
But you said something that I don't hear all the time, and I really wanted you to quickly, because we're almost out of time, address. You said high-value woman. We always hear people talking about a high-value man. I don't hear a lot of people talking about a high-value woman. And to be honest with you, I don't know if people care about that. It seems like they care about, big booty and a certain look.
To me, the high-value woman must come first to bring out the high-value man. Because the woman of high value going to carry herself with a certain amount of grace, a certain aura about herself. It's going to attract high-value men. And I think the high-value woman is just a state of mind, a state of being, and understanding the roles, her position, my position. And we're not talking about no dictator. We're not talking about like that. We're talking about everybody playing their role. And high-value women are much needed because they keep high-value men on their toes. A woman that has no standard, a dude can do whatever he want to do. That's not high value. That's stupidity. And then you get mad when you get screwed over when they showed you who you are and you didn't believe them.
I had a man once tell me, smart girls are too much trouble.
Smart women are sexy. They're very sexy. And women who are well-read and who are well-educated, they do some amazing acrobats behind closed doors.
Well, that's another show for another day. Prester John says, as a high-value woman based on income, degrees, cooking, how do we define what that means?
You can no. I never talked about no money. The first thing I said was grace, self-being, self-aware, understanding who she is. Everything else is just an additive, but those things right there got to be in the mix. You could be a high-value woman and have a nasty attitude and think that every dude sit down when they piss. I don't think so. I think you can talk to anybody any kind of way because you're making a certain amount of money. No, we don't operate like that.
It's not that kind of party. Big John, it's fun talking with you as always. You started this whole mess,
Absolutely.
So it's great to have you back on.
I appreciate it.
We got 60 seconds.
I appreciate what you do.
Thank you. We got 60 seconds. What do you want to leave us with, sir?
Well, what I want to leave individuals with is that, A, I appreciate what you're doing down there, you and Miles and Tavis at KBLA. And at the end of the day, the one thing that Maya Angelou taught all of us is that if someone shows you who they are, believe them. That's what I can leave everybody with.
She sure did say that, and she said, believe them the first time, and that's the hard part right there.
Oh, yeah.
Believe them
Well,
the
it'd be other things in play. But those are the things, respect myself, and then I can respect others because I respect myself first.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. John, I don't know if you want to give out socials or direct us somewhere.
Nah, we ain't doing none of that. They can call Dominique DePrima.
Call me. I'm here every day, 800-920-1580. Follow us, KBLA 1580, for more mess. Tavis, right. Thank you, John. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got his fully locked and loaded Monday shows. His Monday shows are always fire, so you do not want to miss that. This is the week of the State of Black Women in LA. It's Friday. It's going down at Doolin's. It's from 6 to 9. And the Women's Takeover of KBLA is all day Friday. We are celebrating Women's History Month, and I hope that you'll be there with us. Stop by, have you some breakfast, have some great conversation, and let's put our high-value minds together to figure out how to keep making LA a wonderful and incredible place to live and be a black woman and thrive. Like my dad used to say, a person is either free or he is not free. They are not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Don't forget to tap in with me. I'm always ready to talk with you on and off the air at DePrima Radio or KBLA 1580. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black retired Detroit Police Sergeant Benjamin Wagner is charged with kidnapping and sexually assaulting 5 women and girls between 1999 and 2003. Black